is Rebecca Jimenez, and I am going to do a mini lecture on the portion of the essay that I would like to do my pre-writing for. Excuse my parents, we have been busy all day working in the yard, but I wanted to get this done. So my lesson, like I said, was a citation of evidence. This would be in an English 1110, which would be a dual credit for high school students. It would be face-to-face instruction because my ultimate goal is to become a dual credit teacher. So that's why most of my stuff is geared toward this level of student. The type of essay that we would be working on at this point would be a persuasive essay. This is part of a TED Talk unit that I have my students do every year, and so their persuasive essay actually turns into their speech, and they need to have evidence to back up quotes or not opinions. Obviously I tell them that statements without evidence is opinions, and we don't want opinions, we want strong statements. So this is how I would start that with them. I would start by summarizing the previous lesson. So this is really hard for me to do, but yesterday, or I might say in the lesson previous, we learned how to find and gather evidence and resources that were credible, and we learned to get information from them. And there are different types of ways that we can cite that in our persuasive essay. So on the board, you'll see that there are multiple quotes, and those quotes are either direct quotes, which means they come directly from the text, or paraphrase quotes, which means that you have put the author's words into your own words in order to include that in your essay. So at this point, I would have the students, and I would say, on your paper, you need to identify whether each of these quotes is either a direct quote or a paraphrased quote. And then I would give them about 10 minutes to try and figure that out. I would even let them potentially work in small groups, especially if it was an inclusion class. I would allow them to do like shoulder partners, so side by side, or front to back partner, just depending on who they're sitting with, or the seating arrangement for that particular day. And then I would start the next with questioning them. So which type of quotes are they? And I would allow them to respond back to me, and we would talk through each one and discuss why they think it might be a direct quote, or why it seems like it's paraphrased. And then here is the question of all questions. Which one of these needs to be cited? So the answer that I get most often is the direct quotes. Paraphrasing, you put it in your own words. You changed a couple of their words, whatever they might say, and so you don't have to quote it. And that is where we start the whole process of you must quote or cite. You must cite both direct quotes and paraphrase quotes. You must cite any evidence that you get that is not common knowledge. So if you were going to write "the sky is blue," you would not need a cite for that from whomever may have said that first, because that is common knowledge. But if you were going to write 55.5% of the Earth's population is whatever they may choose, you have to cite that, even if that's a paraphrase. It must be cited if it's not common knowledge. And so then I would have them take their MLA citation sheet, which I give them, and we would go over how you would cite each of these different quotes. And of course, we would have when you include the author's name in the citation, you only put the page number where you got it from. If you did not include the author's name in the first part of that quote, you need to include the author's name, last name, and the page number where you got that from. So I would explain this to them. We would review it a couple of times, and then I would ask them for feedback. So I would ask them, okay, how would we quote this particular paraphrase? How would we quote this particular? So pretty much we would go back over the quotes that were on the board, and they would relabel them, and I would try and give them information to help build a proper citation for that. And explain direct quotes must be in parentheses, or sorry, quotation marks, and paraphrasing does not have to be. That's the only difference in those two types of quotes and the citation for them. So this probably would take about all of the time. We only have 55-minute classes. If I had more time or we got through that fairly quickly, we would start working on the works cited sheet, and we would refer back to the MLA citation sheet, and we would go from the in-text citation, which is what they have learned previously, to the works cited citation. So that would be the long citation. And so we would start going over that. But I find that typically in a 55-minute period, getting them to do the citations, working with them, getting the feedback from them, make sure that they are working on, or that they are correctly citing the evidence or the quotes or paraphrase that were on the board. That typically takes the entire time. And then I would summarize it for them. You are now able to cite evidence in writing using the proper format, and you can identify between paraphrase quotes and direct quotes. And we are going to apply that into our paper or into our persuasive speech writing as you're writing that. You must have that citation in your written portion of your persuasive essay in order to avoid plagiarism. So that's how I would do that with them. And I hope that that was self-explanatory, and I look forward to feedback. Thanks.